Are you looking for a book to give you the dash of inspiration to, probably kickstart your work week? Or are you looking to kind of read about one of the greatest, CEO stories of our modern times? Or you just want to read about, let's say, one of the biggest entertainment companies and how it's being run, then today's book review is going to be super interesting for you. Let's get started. Hey folks, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm Praveen Ramesh, and each week I review a non-fiction book and I also talk about my journey of being a creator. So if you're interested, do follow along in my journey. Today we are going to be discussing about The Ride of a Lifetime by Robert Iger. So Robert Iger, in case you folks don't recognize it, he was the CEO of Disney before he retired very recently. And this book is basically about, probably before I get started, right? So two things. Listen to this video at 1.5x, it sounds even better. And two, if you like what you're seeing, or if you want to be, kind of notified when there's a new video, do like, share and subscribe. Yeah, so where did I live? So I was talking about, this book basically talks about, Robert's journey from being a junior executive to how he went on to become a CEO, his struggles, the decisions he made, the acquisitions he made along the way, and, the leadership principles that drove his career, and how did he retire and stuff like that. And towards the end of the book, it had a lot of pictures from his life about opening a few Disney stores and stuff like that. But kind of when we talk about this book, I'm going to be talking broadly from three perspectives: leadership, striving for excellence, and communication, right? So I'm going to be talking about most of this book kind of falls into three. There are a lot of intricate details that I'll let you folks figure out, but here are the three things that I really these are three aspects that I really love, right? So with respect to leadership, right, what did I love about Robert's leadership was, when he was to become the CEO, or when he was being interviewed by the board, his board at Disney, he kind of defined three strategic priorities, and he says that defining three, your priorities is the number one job of a leader, and your priorities shouldn't be more than three, or should be a maximum of three in number. So what were his three priorities? High quality content production, technology, making Disney having an edge in terms of technology, and global reach. And if you see, all the actions that he did as a CEO fell into one of these categories. For example, acquiring Pixar, Marvel and Lucasfilm, he did end up producing a lot of high quality content, by making it Disney Plus, and launching the OTT app. He was catering to a technologically savvy audience. And with global reach, he did acquire 21st Century Fox. He acquired Hotstar from India so that he could have a global reach. So whatever decisions he took as a CEO were driven by three priorities that he had set at a company level. So as a leader, whatever level you're operating in, set the priorities that you're going to be operating by, and all the tactical decisions that you take are going to be driven by that. Second thing, he talks about various principles of leadership, and that those that he values very, very highly. Those are optimism, courage, focus, decisiveness, curiosity, fairness, thoughtfulness, and integrity. So those account to 8 in number. And the things that I really love where he talks about optimism and integrity. Optimism, again, no one wants to follow a pessimist, right? So as a leader, it's very, very important for you to stay positive, so that the team around you is kind of positive, and it creates a culture and an environment of being positive and attacking the problem or things in a very, very positive and a nice way. And second thing I really liked about his leadership principle are the examples he spoke about integrity, right? So the way you do anything is the way you would do everything, and he kind of talks about how setting the highest standards of integrity in the company is very, very important for the company to be successful. Again, he goes into depth into each of these 6 leadership principles, but these are the 2 things that really stood out for me. And the third thing is, as a leader, there's something that at least I feel I did when I started becoming a first-time manager, or when I was managing people. Being a manager or a leader is not about you becoming kind of indispensable. It's about being comfortable with other people coming in and filling your shoes. It's about giving away your Lego blocks or giving away your responsibilities, and be happy for other people to grow into your role so that you can grow into something bigger. So that's again something he beautifully talks about, how he did that in Disney, and it was very eye-opening for me. Okay, so that's about the leadership principle, right? So where he spoke about 8 principles, defining strategic narratives, and not being indispensable in your role. The next aspect was communication. Again, very very fascinating aspect of this book, where he speaks about allocating time, energy and resources to the things that are highest priority and communicating them repeatedly. In fact, he goes on to say is that one of the most important aspects of being a leader is to keep communicating what your priorities are to a level where people would remember what the priorities are even when you're not there, and they would be executing that. So communicate, in terms of communication, communicating your priorities falls as the number one responsibility of a leader, right? Second thing, being vulnerable, right? A lot of times when we become leader, we all keep thinking, hey, I know everything, and I know this, I know that, there's nothing in the world that I don't know. In fact, Robert talks about certain instances in his CEO journey where he doesn't know a lot of things, and where he was not hesitant to show that he doesn't know a lot of things, because he goes on to say true authority and true leadership comes from knowing who you are and not pretending to be anyone else. Hey, let's say if you're a leader who is very good with analytical aspect of things, you could rely on someone to bring you that creative aspect. Or if you're a leader who is pretty, very good with people and numbers and acquisitions and stuff like that, it's okay to rely on someone else to, kind of run the operation and show your vulnerability there. So being a leader is, having a know-it-all attitude, kind of starts your decline. The third thing is, a company's culture, again, is shaped by a lot of things. And again, goes back to the first point of one of the most important things that shapes the company's culture is communicating your priorities. In fact, he goes on to say is that what separates good and great managers, I think I've communicated told this a lot of times, what separates good and great managers is how they communicate their priorities and how those priorities are executed even in their absence. So that was the third thing I learned about communication. And fourth thing, not an ideal aspect that you would want to face as a leader, but something that we all will come across as you all grow into leaders, is firing, right? We all will be in certain situations where we want to fire people. So he goes on to tell about how he hired fired a bunch of people as he took on, and the process he went into, he met them in person, he looked into the eye, he never sugarcoated stuff, and how he was direct with the feedback and why they were being fired and stuff like that. So in fact he talks about how the whole communication strategy around firing was shaped and how he had gone about it. So that was very fascinating to know. Again, not an ideal situation for all of us to be in, but again, in case you end up being in such a situation where you are communicating this, again, this was really, really great insights into how a leader of that stage communicates things. The third thing is striving for greatness. Again, a lot of instances on his interaction with Steve Jobs, which I absolutely loved, and a lot of insights into how he went on to acquire a lot of companies, what went into the boardroom. There were a lot of fascinating insights. In fact, I would say my biggest takeaway from this book was this, right? So if you're in the business of making things, be in the business of making things great, right? So he talks about how making things great requires a change from inside the company itself. For example, if you want to make great things, you don't push back on mediocrity. You say, hey, no to the first side of mediocrity that you say. You give your employees and yourself a chance to fail. You don't keep saying, hey, if it fails, we are done. If it fails, this shows badly on you. If you want to make things great, you need to have permission to fail. You change the tradition and the culture, right? So traditional processes and procedures creates a lot of resistance. So he talks about how he made a sea of changes within Disney to ensure that there is a culture of innovation, and then reward structures, everything pretty much changed to felicitate things of innovation, which again tied back to the priorities he had set. And yeah, so basically he just talks about these things. And second thing, he talks about how long shots really are not long shots, right? So he talks about his Pixar journey. Again, I'm not going to be spoiling it for you folks, but the Pixar acquisition was one such where he thought, okay, it might be a long shot for me, but hey, he did end up acquiring Pixar. A lot of times we think, okay, this might be too much of a long shot for me. Maybe I shouldn't be mailing this person, is too higher up in the hierarchy, or he or she might be too far-fetched for me to reach out and get a favor. But hey, you never know. So take your long shots, and you never know how things might change your life. So that was my review of The Ride of a Lifetime by Robert Iger. So in case you love this book, do like, share and subscribe, and do let me know what book I should be reviewing next. And I hope to see you in the next upcoming videos. Thank you very much.